Egg, if you unmute yourself on Discord. Hey, so it looks like you're going through a little bit of chaos over there. I wouldn't say right on time, but all right. So you guys ready? So listen. So Blackheart, Boogerman, Pluck, Don. I think that's it. Those people who haven't been before. We go into the main stage from here. Everybody leaves here and goes to the main stage. What you need to do is click at the bottom and say become a speaker. I think it's a mic icon. It says become a speaker. You need to do that. When you do that, the entire audience will be able to hear you. So make sure you have yourself muted or push the talk on and keep quiet until Ag calls on you. Ag, I don't know if you've seen the instructions I sent you, but we are going to try to stick to a shorter format based on community feedback. The community has said that, you know, a lot of this stuff, it's kind of not turning into a town hall anymore. It's kind of turning into, oh, hey, look at Splinterlands and check out, invite, and introduce the new HR department and whatever. And then, oh, hey, yeah, we got 5 minutes for Q&A. Hurry up. You know, and they do kind of have a point. So I set out an itinerary, try to stick to that as closely as possible and see how that goes. And we might reword for next week, but let's try that this week. I messaged him. I mean, I can send it to you too. Make you scream.
Oh, we're live. Hey, everybody. This is Agrode coming to you live from Outer Banks, North Carolina. I literally took a ferry to get to a place where the internet was fantastic so that I'd be able to go be here and join you. So I am fresh off the boat. Joining me today, and actually I should say, this is the voice of Agrode. I'm one of the founders of Splinterlands. I'm the CEO, and happy to be here, interface with the community a lot. My partner here, who joins us today, is Matt Rosen, also known as Yabapmatt. Matt, you want to say a quick introduction?
Hey everyone, Matt, one of the founders with Agrode and Chief Product Officer of Splinterlands. We definitely have a lot to discuss today, so keep this short and we'll get going.
Sweet. Joining us as well, there's a bunch of faces that you can see online. We got we have Weirdbeard, we have Chatter, we have Nate, and we have Pluck. Do you guys want to kind of go off and just do like a real quick introduction in that order? Weirdbeard.
Yes. Hello, my name's Weirdbeard. I do tournaments in esports. If we're talking about competition, I'm your guy.
Let's go Chatter.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm Chatter. I help kind of oversee all the marketing initiatives for Splinterlands.
Nate.
Hey, VP of Creative, oversee the front end and animations and art and UX, UI stuff.
And Pluck.
Hey guys, I'm Pluck. I I am an analyst, and I have my hands in a lot of different projects, and I run the numbers for the team here at Splinterlands. And I work closely with Matt on the economy.
All right. So I want to do a couple quick intros here. Normally these things can run a little bit longer, but we're a little bit pressed for today, and we want to make sure that there's plenty of time to get there all the player concerns and things you guys want to talk about. So let's go start with a couple quick intros. We got InfluxPictures. Are you here, bud?
Yeah, I am here. How are you doing?
I'm all right. So normally these are a little longer, but today we got to keep them short. Do you want to kind of give us a quick background intro on who you are, what you've done previously, and what you do now?
Yeah, hi. I'm InfluxPictures, also known as Booker Man. I am actually a video editor, and I work with the creative team, working with Nate directly on some videos that we've been working on. My background and experience is I have a degree in screenwriting, and I own a film production company working on music videos, commercials, new media, and live events. And I'm very excited to be a part of the team. I have nothing but good things to say about Splinterlands and the team. You guys have treated me very, very well.
And what do you do here? Like, what, we're not necessarily making full-length documentaries. What's your role within Splinterlands?
Yeah, so I actually helped edit the Imagine Dragons video. I also edited the Jared Scar video that was released a little while back. Currently, my main tasks are working on the weekly lore videos, and I'm also currently working on the Splinterfest trailer, which I am very excited for.
Awesome. And what's the heart of the trailer for Splinterfest? What's that starting to look like?
Well, we're just starting to get it all put together. We got some great art for the actual logo, and we are all putting it together, getting the assets set up, and I'm very excited.
Yeah, I mean the Jared Scar one was great. I've been trying to get stuff like that made forever, so it was very heartwarming to me to start see that thing come alive and try to get our characters out of just the little arena mode and really into like full scale battles. So I'm excited for that. Yeah, I think anything that you want to kind of just share that you're particularly excited about, or just anything in general, and then I'm going to move on.
Yeah, I believe, Nate, did we have some assets we wanted to share for the video department?
I did share the Jared Scar video in there. For the Imagine Dragons one, I gotta find the link for it if people haven't seen it already. But yeah, the Jared Scar link's in there. So if you guys haven't checked it out, by all means, you should go take a look. We're hoping to get more and more videos like that out to you guys more often and cooler and better and up the ante in what we're capable of. So Ian's a big part of that. Oh, there it is. There's Imagine Dragons one.
All right. So one other, there's like a million wrestling memes that are in chat here. Do you just want to give a 1 second shout out to your baby project here?
Yes, I would. Thank you so much, Aggie. So I am the CEO and founder of Wrestling Organization Online. We're looking to bring territory wrestling to the Hive blockchain, and we're currently partnered with 2 former WWE superstars. Again, thanks so much.
Yeah. So check that out. It's another project that's getting going on Hive, and we're excited for it. All right. Hey, Don, why don't we get you going here? Don Gorgon, can you introduce yourself and just share a little bit about your background and what you're doing now, high level of what you're doing now?
Yeah, thanks, Aggie. Hi, everyone. I'm Haythem. I build products at Splinterlands. I just got started, and I'm super excited to be part of the team. In my previous gigs, essentially my background is in engineering. I did a PhD in computer science with focus in AI and machine learning. So I've worked a lot in the data science space. Then eventually I moved into the sales engineering kind of space as well, and that's how I transitioned into building products. In my spare time, I'm into crypto as well as writing books. So I published a series of books which teach anyone how to code essentially in different programming languages. I hope that was short enough, Aggie.
Aggie, you're on mute.
Yeah, Aggie.
Yeah,
you're on
so
mute.
a real quick thing. He's helping us to go sort of launch some new products. So we'll have some sports things that are coming in the not too distant future, and a lot of that guidance and product design and all of that. It's running through Haythem, and we're definitely taking advantage of the PhD in computer science and the sort of general thoughts of programming, development, product design. Haythem's doing great. Anything? What got you excited about sort of doing this in in video games, but blockchain video games? What was the piece that you left a pretty big publishing company to go come work for us? What was the thing that sort of made you say, all right, I'm going to give this a shot instead?
Totally. I mean, I think that it's a combination of several things. Like the first thing being a gamer myself, like I believe in the gaming space and I think that's the future. And then you add the blockchain layer to it and it's kind of disrupting how we're playing games today. So I want to definitely be part of that new movement. And then also like I'm into finance, into blockchain, into crypto, and that's something I want to always to do. So it kind of felt like so natural, having mutual connection and just kind of happened so naturally. So, and those are kind of like my favorite ways of doing new gigs. So super excited to be here.
Yeah, rock on. All right, we'll keep it pretty short. I'm sure that you guys are going to be hearing a bunch more from Don Gorgon going forward. So, put him on your speed dial because you're going to want to pay attention to what he's saying and what he's doing. All right, and the last introduction that I want to make this morning, it's for Blackheart. So Blackheart, if you want to say a quick hello, tell us a little bit about your background and a little bit about what you're doing here at Splinterlands.
Hey everyone, so I am Blackheart and I'm a part of the tech support team. And basically, I have answers for all your questions.
Nice. And then how did you hear about us? Were you a player before?
So yeah, that's pretty interesting. I was actually preparing for an exam and there was a question based on blockchain. So I got curious as to what that was and I went to YouTube, found a crash course, and like the guy said that you can learn about blockchain by playing games. So the next thing I did was Google blockchain games, and from that point onwards, I'm here.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what's the most common question that you get asked in terms of trying to help people figure out this ecosystem?
Actually, the common questions differ a lot because as the game progresses, as more and more things are put in the game, the questions differ. As to right now, people are asking about the ranked rewards and how the SPS rewards will work. So that's pretty common now.
Okay. Well, anything that you want to leave our users thinking about, or anything that you want to give an update for technical support, or just any kind of shout out, or any last thoughts on your mind there?
Yeah, shout out to all the leads. They are doing such a great job. We are working on a knowledge center so that everyone can have quick access to every question they have in mind. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Sweet. Okay. Do we have a Waffles kitty with us? Is there a Waffles kitty in the house? I don't see her presently, so there's going to be some announcements that are coming about DYGYCON. I don't know if they'll happen during this block, but hopefully we'll get her here and she can go talk to the people with us. I think that means that I have some time to go kind of department by department. So let's start with Liam. Liam, if you want to go give us a marketing update, and then hopefully Weirdbeard can kind of chime in and give a little flavor to parts of that. That's next.
Awesome. Sounds good. Yeah. So the marketing side of things, kind of business as usual, still trucking along with all of our ads and everything else. Seeing a lot of reports from users, seeing a lot of our YouTube ads, which is great to see. I'll post a little screenshot of what one person sent me in a second here. But otherwise, events are kicking off right now. So we were at DeFi Philly last week. Matt was doing some talking there. 16-Bit, who's our VP sales, was there as well. Futurist is coming up for us for anyone in Toronto. If you want to grab some dinner or something, just send me a DM. I'll be in Toronto with 16-bit as well. That's going to be August 8th and 9th, I believe. And then Splinterfest, also something to keep an eye out on. That's going to be October 8th and 9th as well. Otherwise, just working on kind of trying to get some more Axe users and other people into the project. So really doing a lot of PR on that front. You'll be seeing a few more PR reports kind of come through in the next, I think, 2 or so weeks. We should have 3 different PR reports going out, as well as some editorials. Stream teams trucking along as always, reaching out to some new projects too to hopefully add some SPS utility. We're really trying to work through how we look at different projects and how our game can kind of fit into different ecosystems without having to rely super heavily on interoperability. I know there's one question in the chat before Town Hall started about that, but I think the biggest thing that we're seeing is interoperability of NFTs is super hard to really rely on here. We have to constantly support it and everything else. We're trying to figure out how do we get SPS as a purchasing mechanism in another game or something else like that to add more utility there. Otherwise, just lots of work with guilds. 16-bit has been doing an awesome job there. We have a couple more guilds looking at coming into Splinterlands right now, as well as a few more guild tools that are going to hopefully kind of be operating on top of Splinterlands as well. And then lastly, just Splinterfest stuff to look out for. We sat down with Gucci last week, or Alfred. He's designing a whole bunch of t-shirts and other stuff too. So a lot more eye candy to be on the lookout for in the next coming weeks here.
Awesome. Weirdbeard, do you want to give a little flavor around sort of the esports and interactive side, what you guys are working on, and sort of both guilds and brawls?
Yeah, so we actually had our tournament town hall on Friday. Moving forward, we're gonna start doing brawls and tournaments as rotating town halls. Just because this main town hall is very not formal, but it's people interacting and they want specific answers. They want to hear Matt give real answers and eye candy get dropped. So it's my own hangout that I get to have with people who are hardcore players. On Friday we covered, I don't know how many. It was 18 kind of things that we're looking at hopefully being able to do. Put them out there in the community, asked for feedback on them. I will actually link the thread right now in the main chat. But there was a lot of really cool things in there that we talked about. I got feedback on whether people would want to see gladiator card tournaments. People talking about Swiss bracket tournaments, ghost card tournaments, physical prizing, a free tournament weekend, influencer campaigns, just all kinds of stuff of the general sentiments of where people want to be able to see us focusing our energy. And that's great. I would say that we pulled out a lot of things that people want to see, but more than anything, I've kind of been tasked with really increasing participation in tournaments overall right now. When I posted the numbers in the channel, I believe it was something like we had over 3,000 people that competed in tournaments in the last season. Let me actually get the exact number right here. So no, it wasn't 3,000. So last season we had 7,077 overall participants in tournaments over the past season, which is nice, right? So we're running about 3,000 a week, almost a little bit up, a little bit down, depending on the week. And we're really hoping to be able to double those in the next couple of 6 to 8 months. It's not like a hardcore thing, but we're doing more to try to educate players on why tournaments are happening and how you're going to be able to earn from tournaments, because I still think tournaments is the best and the easiest way to be able to earn SPS back once you have the ability to enter into those different tournaments. And more than anything, the things that we covered in the tournaments town hall, while there was some hey, let's do like I said, the gladiator tournaments, but that requires dev work time. So we're really buckling down on trying to do things that are going to be able to bring in new players without any dev resources, just so that we can continue, pushing on them. One of them is talking about, hey, how many live stream tournaments are we currently doing? It's not a lot. So, working more with Splinterlands TV channel and getting specific tournaments set up with either guilds or ones that we put on ourselves to be able to broadcast them out and really start enticing new players, right? the game is so different, and I think I've said this before probably many times. Game's so different from bronze to gold. So the more that players can see what gold play is like, I think it's better overall for the game because they see, oh, I want to be able to be competing and stuff like that. So yeah, it's just been a lot of trying to community outreach and seeing like what do people want us doing with the tournaments while we make some of these smaller like promotional tournaments and promotional things that we do to get those numbers up for people competing.
What do you think the number one thing is that you're hearing either about brawls or about tournaments?
Tough. I would say the thing that got the most feedback from our like 18 ideas or whatever, number one was ghost card tournaments, players being given access in specific card environments to like competing with, all the same cards. So it's like skill based. Gladiator card tournaments are really, really big because people want an ability to earn Gladius cards and then use them in more than just brawls. And they think that that's going to encourage players to enter more guilds because then they want the cards to be able to compete in the Gladiator card tournaments. But then there was also, some, really strong feedback as well from people wanting to see a high roller tournament series, like where we take the best of the best and they're able to all be invited to like a big series tournament where it's like you qualify through a bunch of smaller tournaments and then go on to a bigger one. Like, I think people are starting to see that they want not only more storylines, like, hey, let's follow this and see, the best players and know how they're competing, but also that players are really starting to get invested in the tournament side of things. Like, I think that over the past few months, we've seen people go from like apathetic to tournaments to now like actively curious, which is a good place to, be heading towards. You don't need everybody to be drooling over tournaments. I get that, but I want to get more players who are like know that they exist and want to compete in them.
Okay, Waffles Kitty's here, so I want to go head over to Waffles Kitty, and then I want to go Nate. You're on notice, and then Pluck on right afterwards. So I want to do those, and then I want to try to give Matt a good 20-30 minutes to go kind of spill what's on his brain.
Can you hear me?
I was on mute. Sorry. Yeah, so Waffles, you're going next. Then Nate, you're on deck, and Pluck, you're up after. So Nate, if there's any kind of eye candy you want to prep, let's do it. And Waffles Kitty, why don't you tell us about DYGYCON? And we're trying to keep these pretty short, so you got about a 2-minute window here.
Okay, you got it. I'll keep it quick, guys. So DYGYCON 10 is happening this weekend. Join us with the blockchain community within the metaverse to attend some awesome talks, activities, and to learn about projects you love or haven't gotten to know yet. I'm going to post in the chat a blog that just came out this morning with a couple venue updates and a couple of people that are going to be attending, as well as a preview on some swag that we're going to give out and some speakers. So that will all be in there for you. We're going to give away 50 Splinterlands Chaos Legion packs, 50 vouchers, and we have a bunch more coming up for you guys. So keep a lookout on the DYGYCON channel. We also created a new DYGYCON Discord so you can figure out what you're going to miss out on if you don't attend.
All right, and then will you just kind of give like a 2-second high level, why should somebody attend DYGYCON? What is the event and why is it awesome?
I think this event is super cool because not only do you get to meet people on the high level of like different various projects, you also get to attend unique speaker presentations that happen on Saturday of the main live event. Especially, having you welcome everybody to the event, and then we have a couple other speaker presentations. I think so far we have the CEO of Mouse Hunt making a talk. We have Market Square coming back, and we have Metasource Games, which also does Castles NFT. And then we have, I think, 2 more slots that I'm looking to fill in this week.
Sweet. All right. Well, thanks, Waffles. Hopefully we'll see you guys this weekend, and it should be fun.
Thanks, all right, you guys. So I'll post everything right now.
Let's go with Nate. Nate, hopefully you have a little bit of news and maybe a little bit of eye candy, but you want to go tell us what's going on in the world?
Yeah, absolutely. The creative side of things is hard at work. We're doing all kinds of stuff, but I guess the big stuff will probably be land and Rift Watchers and the new focuses and Splinterfest and things of that nature. I'll try to share a few things and keep it short, just so that I think everyone is waiting with bated breath for Matt's input and feedback on what the community wants to know about. But let's start off with here you go. Here is the latest lore story. So if you haven't checked it out, then go check it out. And then what would be cool? Let's this might be fun. For those of you who haven't checked out the latest Splinterlands blog post, there was a post made, I think it was yesterday, or was it today? Yesterday, about the updates to the reward system and how new focuses are on the way. So here's a preview of some of the concepts for what we're thinking of for the icons you would see in the front end. You can kind of guess. You can kind of look at those and guess and wonder, I wonder what that icon means for focuses, and make your best guesses at that. And then just to celebrate, unless you guys have been living in a cave under a bridge somewhere, you must know that, hey, it happened. The first legendary summoner airdrop for Chaos Legion, Grandmaster Wraith. So to celebrate that big event, here is a wallpaper of a battle mage channeling the power of Grandmaster Wraith. So enjoy that. And there you go. Hopefully I kept it short and sweet for you.
Yeah, that was great. Super efficient. We're trying to get everything, trying to keep this one a little tight and give Matt plenty of time to talk about what's going on. All right, so other than what's the highest priority that's kind of in your brain right now, Nate? Like what's driving the creative department right these days?
I would say for the art department, it's pretty much all hands on deck for Rift Watchers. So every single day, I'm looking at beautiful sketches and concept art, and we're kind of going through the revision process and making sure that every character for that upcoming set is as spot on and reflective of the stat abilities like never before. So we're really excited about that. Same with the lore. For those of you guys who read the lore, I think this set will represent the first time in Splinterlands history where there will be as much synergy as possible between the aesthetics and the visuals of the characters, along with the lore and the stats and abilities, and all of that will feel a lot more seamless than it did before. So we're real excited about that. For like the stuff I shared, those icons are representative of a new UI designer we hired. His name's Harry. He has a lot of great AAA top tier experience in games that you probably all already know. And we started them off nice and easy, like, hey, make some icons for the front end and do this. But we're really ramping up for the UX UI part of things. And to me, I'm really excited about that, since design has always been a little bit of a bottleneck. We got plenty of artists, we got plenty of devs, but what we kind of been lacking a little bit is the UX UI aspect of things. And we just hired Kai about a month or so ago. We hired Harry a week or two ago. So we're getting ready to ramp things up as far as design and front end and UX UI stuff. And then I shared that wallpaper that was from Alex, background artist for our art team, and she'll be probably instrumental in helping us to kind of prepare for land and things like that. So lots of exciting stuff.
Awesome. Great update. Thank you, Nick. Let's go turn over to Pluck. And Pluck, maybe you can go give us a rundown of what's up in your world. Maybe a quick introduction of who you are, what you do, and what's taking up your time and your brain these days.
Yeah, so I'm Pluck. I work on the data services team, and I work closely with Matt on the economy for Splinterlands. And we've been spinning up some business intelligence tools so that we can start doing things quicker. And because we're constantly monitoring what's going on with the economy, what's going on in Splinterlands in different aspects of the game, and then we can adjust to make data-driven decisions. So taking things that used to take us a couple days and turning it into under an hour so that we can be constantly monitoring different things. I'm going to turn it over to Matt because I feel like I'm going to be chiming in throughout that too.
All right. Yeah, I think we've gone through all the folks that are supposed to be here and just chatted a bit with everybody. Turn this over to you. We do want to get in
Hey,
a like bot discussion, and
Hey,
just
Ag?
there's
can we do
yeah.
Splinterlands TV just real quick?
You want to do that now? We can go do that now.
Oh no, let's. I mean, we can do it after the Q&A. I figured that the bot
Well,
discussion.
I was going to do it. I was going to do it after Matt and before the Q&A.
So I figured the bot discussion is going to lead right into a Q&A, probably.
Okay.
That'd be a little organic. Yeah.
Well, we're already here, so
Let's do
how
it.
long? Well, you say a quick hello. Tell us who you are, and just tell us about what are we even talking about, or what is this thing?
So guys, yeah, this is Rondon. I run a little thing called Splinterlands TV. And if you haven't heard it, we're over on twitch.tv/Splinterlands TV. We do nothing but Splinterlands streaming, everything from gameplay, news, tips, tricks, just all sorts of stuff over there. Lots of different faces from all around the world in different languages. It's a pretty big initiative. We're going for 24/7 Splinterlands content. We're going to take over we're going to take over Twitch with Splinterlands. And guys, it's going like gangbusters right now. We've already doubled our average viewers in just the past month. Our average viewers have gone up 100%, which is really hard because we're adding more hours to it, which means that, like we're expecting even more of an audience for more hours. And yeah, our watch time is just gone through the roof. Things are getting crazy over there. Make sure you check it out. There's always all sorts of like giveaways and awesome strategies and really fun gameplay. This week we are going to have Irio Magico on Tuesday. He's going to be giving away packs. Halazor on Thursday is going to be giving away packs. Do not miss that. And this we didn't do a town hall last week, so we're a little bit behind on shout outs. Aggro though.
Yeah. Let me do a couple of these. So these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got 8 shout outs to do, and that's over 2 weeks. But like Ron has said, the players that are also tuning in to Splinterlands TV are earning some points, and they can redeem those points for shout outs. So first off, the all-time leading champion of this, ButtOps18, or Bootops, I'm not sure how to say that, but awesome. It's wonderful to see you in there again, and a well-deserved shout out. And then we got a couple new players to the shout out world. DYGYCON is here. That's the first time that I've seen his name. We got Ape of Wall Street coming in hard right there. We also have JM Pards 3. We got Lordo. Lordo is here again. We've seen him before. Hold My Cards, who's in the audience right now and here with us on the stream. Team Vanguards, and lastly, Spike San Juan. So, these are folks that are hanging out with us, helping us grow the stream, chatting with the authors and chatting with the streamers and interacting a ton and helping us grow this channel. So it's a special time and a special reward that we get to go shout them out on air during the town hall. Say thanks for chilling with us, and thanks for viewing the Splinterlands TV and helping us grow our presence on Twitch, which, the main reason that we're doing that, in case anybody is wondering, is to help bring more of the Twitch users into Splinterlands. So, we're growing our base out there and dragging folks in.
Absolutely. And because we got a couple of weeks behind, I'm going to play a couple of clips here. This one is last week's clip. The thing is, we do give a lot of stuff away on there. Oh, sorry. Yeah, we do give a lot of stuff away. And we use Nightbot a lot to pick the winners. This last time, though, things didn't go as expected, and a little bit of hilarity ensued.
3, 2, 1, let's go! Oh, Nightbot, really? I forgot to exclude you and you put yourself in the spot? Oh my god, you are incredible. Yeah, well, guys, don't worry. He's disqualified. He's disqualified. I mean, yeah, I don't know. That's picking yourself, Nightbot, is not a nice thing. So please stop doing it.
So Nightbot picked himself as the winner. Oh, and then last but not least, we sometimes opening packs you get lucky, and Not Real Batch happened to be one of the lucky ones this week. So this is this week's winner. And guys, listen, if you win clip of the week, you get 500 SPS. So go out there, submit it. Go check out splinterlands.tv/Discord. The rules are posted in there in the official announcements. Go check it out. Go participate. We want to see those awesome clips. Here's not real batch.
Gonna open it. Thanks, Rondon, for the pack. Okay, we have fewer potions on this account. Okay, I think this is gonna be the one that contains legendary. A legendary. Okay, a common. No. Oh my god. 3 commons. A rare. Oh, a legendary! A legendary! Oh my god, this rare card, Scaba Firebolt, and this is gonna be a legendary. This is gonna be legendary. You know that meme, man. Okay, a legendary. Let's go! Oh, Desert Dragon. Let's go. Gonna open it. Thanks, Rondon, for the pack.
All right. So that was the clips of the week this week. If you guys think you can do better, if you can find a better clip, watch Splinterlands TV. Make a little clip. It is super easy to do, and I'll see your clips this next week. Thanks.
Rock on. Thanks, Ron. Okay, let's turn this over to Matt. So Matt, do you want to go give us kind of some product updates? You know, anything from we put out a new rank rewards post, so there's some additional changes that are coming there, and maybe there's some other pieces that you want to talk about. But I think we have maybe 15 or 20 minutes for just kind of a general discussion. And then it's been such a hot topic over the last month or two, and really like since we started this game, but it's come up a lot again, is we have this big bot discussion. So let's talk about everything other than bots, and then let's put that towards the end, and then let's have a discussion around bots too.
Yeah. Well, it's all interrelated. So I guess the first thing I wanted to talk about is kind of just give a high level overview of like how we're looking at the entire economy for the game. Because that underlies all of the decisions we make. And I know this isn't something, this is something like that's a work in progress and that we're kind of figuring out. So it hasn't been officially published, or there's not like information on this. But at some point, we'd like there to be this overall clear economy design with all the different tokens and how they work. And I think this will also help answer a lot of the questions that's come up. Hopefully give some clarity into what we're doing. So, basically we started with dark energy crystals, right? And our goal was to have it be, relatively stable to 1,000 dark energy crystals worth roughly $1. That to me is extremely important for any type of, really any type of Web3 project. I think stable pricing for market purchases and for buying things in the games are really important. And like every other project, that prices things in Ether or whatever other token, it's really difficult for users because those token prices change so much. So I think it's really, really important for our like ultimate long-term growth to have a relatively stable token. It doesn't need to be like USDC or USDT stable, but definitely closer than it is now. So that's a big goal. One of the things that we were missing that was addressed with the addition of SPS was that non-stable token, right? Where ideally value can accrue, and that is the governance token, is that what people are trying to earn in the game. So ultimately, the kind of high level design that we're going for, we're moving toward this slowly, in steps, because we had to take the existing system and kind of move it over as we work this out. It is that DEC will be the relatively stable transactional token in the game. So that means that's the token that you use to purchase packs. You can use it to purchase potions. You can use it for guild upgrades and different things, potentially skins. We'd definitely like to do more of those in the future. Other things like skins, and then there's going to be a whole bunch in land where, things that you can get or purchase with dark energy crystals. So the flip side of that is that in order to keep it stable, we need a bunch of different mechanisms. So if we sell all these things for dark energy crystals, then people will hopefully, buy dark energy crystals. It'll push the price up on the market. We saw this happen with the SPS airdrop, and there was no mechanism to kind of deal with that. So that's one of the ways where the SPS token comes into play. We already talked about this on a town hall a little while back, but I'll mention it again. Is that we're borrowing concepts from Steam and Hive and other blockchain platforms, where the idea is you'll be able to burn $1 worth of SPS tokens for 1,000 dark energy crystals, and this way, as people put money into dark energy crystals in order to buy Splinterlands products, all the value from that really flows into the SPS token, which is what we want. We want the value from the game, the value from more people putting in money into the ecosystem to go into the SPS token. Now, we didn't have that when the SPS token launched and through the airdrop period, so that's why we saw the price of dark energy crystals go up so much, and it wasn't being, siphoned off into SPS, which is the goal. So that mechanism has worked really well in a number of other platforms. And I don't see any reason it wouldn't work very well in Splinterlands too. But the flip side of it is where it gets really interesting, in my opinion. So, we had projects like Terra Luna, and we saw how the flip side of that didn't work so well. So it worked fantastically when there was a lot of value coming in. People were burning Luna, printing UST, and everything worked great. On the flip side, when value was coming out and people were selling out of the system, it all collapsed. But the way we have it set up is that dark energy crystals, you can't burn them to get SPS. Instead, the value of those are backed by Splinterlands products. And I think that's a pretty unique thing. I haven't seen that any other type of stable coin that's product backed. And I think there's a really big opportunity for us to have a pretty exciting kind of new product in the crypto space, which is this product backed stable coin. But one thing that can't happen is we can't be infinitely minting dark energy crystals as part of rewards and part of all these things like we're currently doing now. So right now we're seeing, based on the amount of DEC being minted out into the ecosystem as compared to the current demand for Splinterlands products, the equilibrium is lower than 1,000 DEC for $1. But as we mentioned in the recent ranked rewards posts, we're going to be switching from DEC rewards to SPS rewards. That's also like a really important thing about this whole economy design. So the idea of SPS being the governance token of the system is we call this like proof of skill or proof of play. There's proof of work and proof of stake and all these things. So realistically, since we launched this, the original idea for SPS was that the best players in the highest leagues, tournament winners, people participating in guild brawls, the land expansion, like generally people who are adding value, time, and energy into the game will be the ones earning SPS. Now, for the last year, we had it where all you had to do was hold Splinterlands assets. So that was the initial very simple distribution for everyone. And I want to mention that even at current prices, we'll have given out about $20 million worth of SPS as part of the airdrop to players. So players who held Splinterlands assets over the last year, even if at the current prices right now, not taking into account that they were higher for most of that time, is about $20 million that were given out for free for players. But now that period's ending, it's going to switch to players who actively play the game and move up to higher levels are the ones who are going to be earning SPS. That's going to be the primary way to earn SPS. Ranked battles, guild brawls, tournaments, eventually land, those type of things. So that was always the plan from the beginning. There's no change there. And then by using that as the reward currency, it will stop basically the minting of DEC. So the only ways DEC will be minted will basically be from card burning, mostly. And then DEC will be the transactional token of the game. So there won't be any more of this, minting pressure on the prices. It will just be simply based on the demand for the product. So I think overall, this change is going to stabilize DEC, which will be, again, I think a really important thing for this ecosystem. And then also allow, the best and top level, most engaged players to be the ones earning the SPS. And therefore, if they hold that SPS and stake it, have more and more governance voting power in the system when that's released too. So I guess that's like the high level kind of economy that we're trying to build here. And that's what we're designing towards.
Let me ask you just a couple clarifying questions. So DEC can be earned right now by burning cards. It can be earned when I play ranked battles. I can earn it when I open up a chest, and I can earn it if I get onto leaderboards. And then from your description, it sounds like, well, I can still get it if I burn a card. It sounds like there's going to be a new mechanism where I can burn SPS to get DEC. But the other three, it sounds like those DEC earning mechanisms are being replaced by SPS. Have I summarized that correctly?
Yeah, that's the idea. So the SPS will be the reward token in the game.
When do you expect that all to go live?
My hope is in August, but it is a bit of a bigger project. It's not just switching the rewards right to SPS, but it's also going to need to work with the SPS validator, which we're getting closer to being able to release. So it's a bit of a big project, but my hope is that within August or at latest September timeframe, the switchover can happen.
So we're gonna keep minting DEC for a little bit, but then we're going to stop minting that DEC in either the August or September timeframe, approximately.
Yeah, that's right. So, and then something else to note is that the SPS rewards will both it'll be a fixed reward pool, right? We published in the white paper a year ago what the exact reward pool is. So that's different than how DEC is given out, where it's just every new player that comes in that's earning more chests just getting more dark energy crystals. There's no like limit. It's not like just split up among a certain number of people. So that's SPS is a limited reward pool that will be split. And we'll be providing all of the details of exactly the breakdown on this, as it gets closer to launching. That's part of what we're figuring out. That's part of what Pluck's helping with. So I can't say the exact like numbers or things right now, but we'll release that. Everyone will see. But also I'll mention that, it's far, far less than is being given out currently for the airdrop. So yes, the airdrop is ending. It will be replaced by these new pools, like for ranked rewards and guild brawls and things. But that's still, it'll still be a significant reduction in the amount of SPS that's being given out on a daily basis. And then also generally that SPS will be going more focused to the higher tier players, right? The players who are in the higher leagues, the players who are, in the higher guild brawl arenas, players who are winning the more tournaments. And these are also more of the people who are much more likely to, stake their tokens and want to get more governance power in the game. These are the people who are more engaged rather than the farmers. So it's interesting. One of the things to note is that when, right now, just jumping into bots a little bit, if you create 10,000 accounts playing in Bronze League, that's just basically minting more Dark Energy Crystals tokens. So every new account you add, that's more Dark Energy Crystal tokens being given out to that new account for the whole system. But with SPS, it's going to be everyone in each league is basically competing for a fixed pool of SPS tokens. So if you just come in and you create 10,000 accounts, they're all going to be competing against the same pool. So it's, again, like the goal overall for us always is to encourage people to get into higher leagues rather than with one account or a few accounts, rather than play in lower leagues with many accounts. So I think the switch to SPS tokens is going to go a really long way to help that happen, because rather than creating 10,000 accounts and trying to just compete for a very small pool in bronze or silver, or a smaller pool, it'd be ideally much better to get a smaller number of counts into higher leagues where you have fewer people competing for a larger pool of SPS. So that's kind of like, I'm keeping all these things in mind with the longer term, and we're talking just only a couple months down the road, ideally plans. so we just have to keep that in mind. And I hope everyone can keep that in mind when they're looking at like how things currently are now. This is what we're going to.
Yeah, and so there were some staking plans too that were part of the original white paper. Staking on individuals, and maybe staking at some point will impact your overall ability to earn SPS. Is that like a phase 2 kind of thing? Is that after the validators come live and all of that's functioning, then we can start thinking about how the staking mechanism will go from, if you stake, then you earn, to more of this player-based thing where if you stake on Yasik, you're likely to get a return. But if everybody stakes on Yasik, you have diminishing returns. So then you have to find kind of the diamond in the rough. Where does all that like staking aspect come into play?
Yeah, I mean that's 100% still happening. It's not been like forgotten about or anything. Yeah, so but that's also a bigger project. So again, like initially we were like, okay, maybe we'll wait until we have everything in, right? Maybe we can wait until we can build that whole player staking, even to start giving out the SPS ranked battle rewards. But I think with the way things have been going recently, it's definitely very important that we get the SPS ranked battle rewards out, switch it out for DEC, so we kind of get the whole 2 token economy stabilized and working properly, and as quickly as possible, and then we'll add in the staking requirements. But just so everyone's clear, I mean, the idea is that you're not going to be able to earn rewards just by getting cards and playing. You will also need SPS tokens staked on you. This is actually going to be the main and most important utility for SPS. So anyone, we see a lot of people saying, hey, we need more utility for SPS. Yes, that this is the main one, is to earn any rewards in the game from ranked battles in particular. You're going to need SPS staked on you. Now, that doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to have to buy the SPS yourself. So that's what Agrod was talking about, of like staking on Yasik or someone. We didn't want it to be a case where like everyone was forced to purchase SPS themselves in order to earn those rewards. But anyone who has SPS staked can choose to stake it on other players in addition to themselves. So it was actually, I think, a pretty cool design that we're planning on, where if you come into the game and you're a good player and you are winning battles, other players who have staked SPS, have extra staked SPS, will be incentivized to stake some on you, right? That helps them earn more rewards. And it will help you earn more rewards as well. So it'll be a combination of both. Some players will want to buy SPS to stake more on themselves. Some players who are just more skilled at the game or have better card collections may not need to, and other players may stake on them. But that's definitely a much more complicated system to build, and that's going to be, I think right after we do kind of the switch to SPS rewards, that's going to be the next kind of economy thing that we're going to tackle. And I just want everyone to keep in mind, like, that is ultimately going to be the main utility for SPS, that and governance voting, is that in order to come in and earn rewards in the game, someone is going to have staked SPS to stake on you, whether it's you or someone else.
Okay, so we have SPS rentals, or SPS staking. We have these new pools. You mentioned that the airdrop is ending, and it's kind of a big deal. That happens in, I think, 15 days. Sometimes we talk about like the Bitcoin halving. When the airdrop ends, is that half the supply? Is it more than half the supply? Is it will it be roughly half the supply when we turn these other faucets on? Like, do you have a ballpark number in terms of just how big of a deal or how big of a shock this whole economy is about to get in the next 14 or 15 days?
Yeah, I mean, all these numbers are also in the white paper, so anyone can look there and see this. But the airdrop is giving out approximately 33 million tokens a month. That's 1.1 million tokens roughly every day. And initially, since all the new reward pools won't be available initially, it'll be well over a 50% drop in the SPS given out on a daily basis. And then as we add more reward pools, that will offset it. Like, ranked rewards is 7.5 million a month. And I forget the numbers for the other ones, but overall, even once all of the new reward pools come into effect, some of which may be, quite a while out, it will still be a significant reduction in the overall supply. So we'll have this big supply reduction. And then also coming back to utility, we are going to be launching Rift Watchers. Our goal is to get it out also in August. But that may depend on how quickly we get things done. But August or September at the latest, there's going to be Rift Watchers. Our plan is 3 million packs at $5 a pack in SPS only, based on current market prices. So, you can do the math there, but we're going to have a significant reduction in supply due to the airdrop ending, plus, the entire new mini edition priced only and purchasable only with SPS tokens. We'll also do the similar things with Chaos Legion, where there'll be a pre-sale with additional benefits where you'll need vouchers. And then you'll also need vouchers for the bonus packs going forward. We're still working on all the exact numbers and details around that. But to me, I see kind of August and maybe into September being like a big turning point for the SPS token. We don't speculate on prices, but just in general, this first year was kind of this distribution phase. It was, hey, we've had all these players who have been a part of the game for a long time, have put a bunch of money in, have gotten all these assets, and we're just, we need some initial distribution of this token. And so we've just been giving it out. Like I said, at current prices, about $20 million has just been given out, right? So that was the distribution phase. And I guess it's not surprising, to think about the price. There's also a bear market, but even without that, we've just been at the initial phase is just give out tokens to all of our players who have been with us and who have owned and hodled assets. But now the distribution phase is ending pretty soon, 15 or so days, as Aggie said. And so now we're going into like what I like to think of the value and utility phase, right? So the distribution going forward is going to be to the people who provide the most, who put the most into the system, not just money, but time, skill, all these things. It's going to be far less than in the distribution phase. And then we're going to start adding in all the things that give utility to the token. So there's things like Rift Watchers, obviously, right away. Then there's going to be governance, and there's going to be staking, which is going to be required to continue earning rewards. I think Chatter was talking about getting the SPS token used in potentially other products. And I also just think in general, this whole concept of a product-backed stablecoin could be a pretty big deal in the general cryptocurrency market. So I think once we get all this stuff done and that's sort of set and that's working, and we can show this economy is hopefully working well, that coin is stabilized and it's backed by these products plus future products that we're going to be putting out in Splinterlands. I think that could be a headline just in the general crypto market. That's very, stable coins are an extremely important thing in the markets, and obviously many different types of algorithmic stable coins have failed catastrophically. So if we can kind of show a new mechanism that we're pioneering, that could be a pretty big deal, and I'm hoping that could also drive a lot of value and people and interest in our ecosystem and how this project works. So to me, it's like we had this big distribution phase. A lot of people, weren't happy about it because prices were going down. But if you just look at it from a perspective of what you got for free for holding Splinterlands assets, it was pretty amazing. And then going forward, it's going to be, that phase is done. Now let's see the utility and let's see what this token can do.
Somebody in the chat here brought up validators. Validator nodes are sort of tied into all of this. We've sold something like 3,000 of them. They're currently giving out voucher rewards. I believe that SPS rewards are sort of in the short-term radar there as well. How are these changes impacting validators and what's in store for the validator node owners?
Yeah, so that's a good thing to mention that I forgot, is that we have announced that we'll start giving out the SPS rewards in August for validators, even if the code itself is not live and ready yet. So that's one reward pool. I think that's 3.75 million a month. So again, like very small, it's like a 10th of the airdrop that's being given out. I think the value and utility and purpose of validator nodes doesn't really change. They're just all part of this next phase of the token. So, it's not only going into this utility phase for SPS, but also bringing it into distributing it more, not just the token itself, but the actual running of the entire network. So everything I just talked about and everything I just said will ultimately be run by the community members, not by Splinterlands, the company, which I think is a hugely important and exciting step in the right direction for this project. I think it'll make it a lot more interesting to the more like crypto diehards and maxis and decentralization people to see this really happening. I mean, eventually my goal is that, right now we have SPS on various exchanges, like centralized exchanges, but it's through either the Ethereum token or the Binance Smart Chain token. I mean, eventually I'm looking forward to exchanges being able to run a validator node themselves. They don't need a license to do it. They can just run the node, the software and support the actual native token that can be sent directly to the player's Hive or Splinterlands wallet without bridging. So yeah, and the governance, obviously the validator nodes is going to be what runs the entire governance system for the game, which is one of the major utilities for SPS. So it'll allow people not only to vote for who are the top validators kind of responsible for the DAO and for the system, but they'll also be able to submit proposals to change all sorts of different things about the tokenomics and within the game. So if players decide that there's not enough tokens being given out for liquidity pool rewards, or maybe there's too many, or maybe there's too few tokens for ranked battle rewards, or whatever it is, these things, instead of us kind of doing our math and figuring out what we think it should be with a lot of player feedback, obviously, it'll be directly through a proposal system, and everyone can vote via their SPS token holdings. And I'm looking forward to that being a really exciting system to give like player ownership of everything.
So that was a really good summary of sort of our overall game economy and shifts that are making as we move out of SPS distribution mode to like maximize SPS utility mode. And that should involve a lot of syncs and involve a lot of utility use cases for SPS. But I guess hopefully that is a good backdrop for some kind of discussion around bots being in this ecosystem. I've heard it all and I've read it all of like, bots are bad, they're destroying us. Also, it's terrible that there's not as many bots playing because it hurts us on DApp radar. I've seen, that they take up way too much of the reward pool, and now it's too few accounts that are taking too many rewards. And I don't know, maybe you can go kind of give us some kind of sense of, after rank rewards happened, what happened to bots, and what do you see them doing now? And just like, how are they interacting with our economy? Is it as big as a problem as it has been in the past? Like, what's your leading thoughts around bots these days?
Yeah, so just first from a high level, I'll give my little speech that I've given many times on bots in general for anyone who hasn't heard it. But our goal is to build the most distributed, decentralized platform that we possibly can, right? That's not something that's ever happened for an online game, and everything in Web3. It's these are kind of big experiments. So we don't want to go the route of many of the game projects out there, which is where they say Web3 and they say blockchain and all this stuff, but really, it's just a company running the whole show. And a lot of things in Splinterlands are like that currently, but I think you can see by our roadmap that like it's a top priority for us to move away from that. But that means to build a product that actually works like that. It means that we are not, as a company, going around and saying, hey, these accounts can play, these accounts can't play, whether they're bots or anything. It should be an open system for anyone to anonymously participate in. And there's no way also for anyone who says ban bots, there is no way to 100% identify what is a bot and what is not in any online type of game or project, right? And you can't add CAPTCHA and things like that are, again, a centralized service gating who can participate and who can't. So the goal for us is not to take the easy route out which is just, act as a centralized authority saying who is and who is not allowed to participate and how you're allowed to participate. But we're actually trying to tackle the really hard problem that no one has tackled yet of how you can build a truly decentralized game and game ecosystem where no one is controlling who can access and how people can access or even who they are or anything like that. So this is a super hard problem that hasn't really been solved yet. I think all the tools are available and they've been tried in different forms and different types of applications. And we're sort of just trying to put things together and make it work in this game. But it's never really been done before, and we're getting things wrong sometimes. And that's I think everyone should expect us to get things wrong from time to time. It would be quite amazing and unbelievable if we weren't. But we're just, like we've done for the last 4 years, we're going to try all these different things, see what we got wrong, and then try something different until it works. Because ultimately, I'm not here to create just another Web 2 game that, says blockchain and Web 3 to try to attract investment. I'm here to actually build the first player-owned blockchain game, not just players owning their assets, but players running the software, players owning the governance, like players owning the entire thing. And that's a little scary. We talk about this sometimes to potential investors in the company, and a lot of people are scared by that. They're like, what do you mean the players can decide on things? What if they do stupid things and this and that and the other? We hear it all the time. And, one, I think actually our players in aggregate, maybe not a few people here and there who make a lot of noise, but generally our players in aggregate are super smart. They get this stuff. A lot of the things we do in the game comes from player feedback, especially the whales in the game. So there are definitely, you guys that I'm talking to now are a fantastic group of people in aggregate to leave these decisions up to, and probably better than us, at the company. And then second is, whether or not it ultimately works out, this is what I'm here to try. This is what we are here for, right? We're not here, like I said, to make just another Web 2 game. We are here to try this completely new thing that has never been done before in the gaming space. And that's because as players, that's what we want to play. We want to try. We want to be a part of this new thing. So like, as I mentioned about making mistakes, clearly there were some mistakes made with the ranked reward system so far. That's fine. I expected there would be some mistakes. I didn't know what those mistakes would be ahead of time. Otherwise, we wouldn't have done them. But that's how it works. One of the mistakes was, our goal with the ranked reward system was to give out more rewards to everybody that had cards, whether they rented them or owned them. So we definitely did that. We're giving out a lot more rewards. I don't think, hopefully no one disagrees with me that in general, for the same amount of cards and playtime, you are earning more rewards. And as far as the bots and farming was concerned, that would mean they would get more rewards too. My thinking on that was that the difference between the new ranked reward system and the old ranked reward system was that now the bots would actually have to get or rent cards, buy or rent cards, whereas before they were able to use the starter cards. So right now we have a situation where bots especially are able to earn a really high return on investment renting cards and playing in the game. So my thought was that, okay, if that happens, it will just encourage more and more bots or players to come in and take advantage of that high ROI, which would then push the rental prices and card market prices up until it got to the point where the ROI wasn't attractive enough. So my hope was that kind of a free market system would adjust itself to handle this situation. What we've seen, unfortunately, is that hasn't been the case. So the bots that were already in the game, for the most part, stayed there and took advantage of the large rewards. And we haven't seen a big influx of new bots and new players taking advantage of this basically arbitrage advantage. I think a big part of that comes down to just the bear market, right? Last year at this time, when there was a big kind of arbitrage, that's when we saw the bots first come in these volumes. When it's a bull market, there's a lot of people looking to invest funds into these type of situations. In a bear market, there's not as much. But either way, that was something that I was expecting. That was sort of what I was hoping and planning with this new reward system, and that didn't pan out. So as a result, we're kind of going back and looking into more of what what specifically the bot armies or the farmers are doing and how they're able to generate more rewards than the typical average player. We've talked about over and over that that's the thing we try to deal with. We don't try to ban bots. We just try to make it so that they don't have advantages over players. And those are some of the things behind the changes that we released recently. And again, I don't expect these changes that we just announced to be perfect and fix everything. There may even be a couple more mistakes in there, and we may have to change some of those things. But this is just what we have people like Pluck and a bunch of other people on the team now, not just me, to kind of go through day after day, week after week. So that was a long thing, but hopefully that kind of covers a lot of what's been coming up recently.
Can I jump in real quick, Agron?
Yeah, please do, Pluck.
Yeah, so I think it's great that I have the chance to talk through some of these things with Matt. And something that I try to remind myself as we're working on these problems is that we have a unique situation in that a lot of these bots are sitting in Bronze and Silver League. So they're almost as if they're new players to our game. So it would be, I hear like the community sometimes say just like squash rewards for these bots, don't let them take value out. But then that would also disincentivize people to join our game, which I think is something that we need to be constantly reminding ourselves of, because we want more players to come in, and they're going to have to come in through Bronze and Silver first. So we're in this kind of catch-22 problem where we don't want all the value going out to farms, but we also want to make sure that new people are willing to come into the system and play the game, and it be fun and exciting for them, because at the end of the day, it's a cool game, and the concept's awesome.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point, is that like we don't the whole idea is not to reduce rewards. The whole idea is to have lots of rewards, and then hopefully have lots and lots of people come in to take advantage of those rewards. So we've given out the more rewards. We just haven't seen the people come in yet. And I think the market is part of that. There's a bunch of other reasons, like some of the things we're looking at is, okay, if someone comes in and they want to take advantage of it, how much work is it? How difficult is it, right? How difficult is it to rent all the cards you want and make sure you have them throughout the whole season? That's why I think season rentals are going to be really important. Because if you're a player coming in and you just want to play every day and earn your max rewards from your focus and season chests, it's like a pain in the butt. And you have to use all these third-party services to like manage your rentals and deal with cards getting canceled and prices changing and all this stuff. There's no way to come in and just say, hey, I want to rent all these cards for the entire season and just be able to play and not worry about it. So I think there's things, that's not the only thing. There's going to be other things that just come in and we can say, hey, to all these people who are potential players, like, look at these huge rewards you can earn relative to the low rental prices. And here's how easy it is to just come in and take advantage of that. And what that will do, even if it's bots, it doesn't matter ultimately, because what we want is for that to push rental prices up as more and more people come in and start. The cards are limited, right? So if tons and tons of people are coming in to take advantage of this huge arbitrage opportunity, it will push the prices up until that arbitrage opportunity is no longer there, or it's small enough to not warrant people coming in for that. So that's ultimately like what we're trying to achieve. So reducing rewards isn't the way to go, but updating the rewards and updating things to make it easier for people to take advantage of them is what we're looking at. And I'll mention again that the switch to SPS rewards is going to go a really long way for this multi-account farming issue, because everyone will go from minting more rewards every account, every loot chest that's created, to all competing for a fixed pool of SPS for each league.
Okay. That's a lot to kind of take in. If you had to summarize either what we've done recently, what the new rank rewards updates will do, or the sort of, upcoming changes in July or August. Like if I was sort of a new player and trying to just figure this out, what do you think the biggest impact is going to be, in particular around bots and how people are experiencing them in the game?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of people are up in arms looking at the data that's been shared, which is, something we love. I love that the data is all public and anyone can look at it. And I always try to tell people internally like that, we should embrace the fact that everything is open and available for everyone to look at. That's part of what we're doing. I I think players are upset from what I've heard that bots are able to get more than them, right? And that they're taking such a large portion of everything that's being given out so far. And that I understand, and that's what obviously we're working on addressing. But that's different than bots actually causing a negative experience for new players playing the game or existing players playing the game. My hope and what I think we've been seeing is that still for existing players and new players, they are able to earn more rewards than they were previously, and generally have a more engaging, fun product than before the changes. So overall, the changes, I think have still been going in the right direction, and the bots don't necessarily, unless you're just looking at data about them, cause a negative experience for people. So that's kind of how I see it. You there, Aggie?
Yeah, I was on mute. I think what I want to do at this point is go hop into some questions and just take them from the existing question set, and then make sure that we have time at the end for sort of general questions to get answered as well. So is there anything you'd like to add as sort of like a closing statement to what you're doing here, Matt? And then I'll dive into the questions.
Yeah, I guess the one thing, I know a lot of people always have been and continue to ask about the new player experience and the focus on that. The one thing I'll say to that is I think it's imperative that we get our economy, we get this system that I've just been talking about for the last half hour, like solid and working first. Like that's the most important thing to me. We get these tokens, we get the DEC hopefully more stable, we get the earning of SPS working as we intend through ranked battles and other things. And once my hope is that by the end of this year at the latest, hopefully earlier, we kind of have a much more stable system and we have a lot of these problems resolved. And then it's much, much easier and more effective for us to really go and help bring in new players and help make it easier to bring them through the process and show them all this stuff. Like right now, while a lot of things are in flux and changing, it's really hard for new players. And I get that. Because they try to learn the system and then all these things are changing and they have to switch up how things work. And some people like that. That's part of the game. That's how you can get advantages, definitely. So there's good things there. But in general, I think it's not as effective for us to spend a lot of time working on new players and teaching them and bringing them in until that stuff is more concrete and fixed. And then we'll get a lot more value when we can say to new players, hey, here is the overview of the entire thing of the system. Here's how it works, not how it's going to work, not how it's planned to work. Here's how it works now, and it doesn't plan to be changed because it's working really well. And then they'll have a much easier time to just get the value of this, understand why they want to rank cards or buy cards, what they need to do, what they can earn, what it's used for, all that stuff. So to me, that's how I look at this whole thing is we need to focus on getting all this stuff right and working kind of the way I just described it. And then we really push the new players.
Awesome. All right, let me go dive into some of these questions and we'll see what you guys have to say. The first section's on bots and the second's on rewards and the third is on SPS. And we've talked about all those. So we'll see. Maybe a bunch of this is repetitive and I'll skip some, but we'll see. What are your thoughts on bots that can play the game better than a large percentage of players? Why should I play the game myself when I can let a bot play and earn more rewards? Do you think a bot can earn better than players in most circumstances?
I think not a single bot, but using large numbers of accounts, bots are able to earn better returns on their investments than single players right now, which is, one of the main things we are working on addressing.
All right. How will you prevent bot farms from circulating hundreds or thousands of accounts through one guild in order to be able to get extra merit bonuses or even be able to spend their merits?
That's something we're definitely going to have to look at. I mean, obviously, everything we do is going to lead to new potential exploits or things that come up, and we'll kind of deal with them one at a time. But there's a whole bunch of things we can do to address that, from like some type of like cooldowns if you like leave a guild and join another guild or something like that. And it also remains to be seen how much of a problem that will actually be. So a lot of times I don't like to try to it's good to anticipate problems, but I don't like to do too much to try to address them before the changes even go out initially, because a lot of times things end up working out differently than you would have guessed beforehand. So we're going to put out this change to the merits. As always, we're going to see how it goes for at least a season or two, see what's actually happening, and then deal with it, something, if there's any exploits.
What will earnings be like for bot farms? You just burn their merits for whatever profit they can extract compared to the reward cards they are replacing.
The hope is that, and this is part of the economy design we've been working with Pluck, and we just talked about this morning actually, is that ultimately, the gladiator cards have a lot of value in the guild brawls and hopefully eventually in special tournaments and things like that. But in just DEC terms and like profit that can be extracted, it will be much less than the reward cards being given out. So if bots are just that's one of the reasons why I think this was a really good change, because for real players who are in guilds and participating, this can actually provide a lot of value because those gladiator cards are super hard to get. Whereas anyone who's just trying to extract value from the system, it actually makes it much more difficult.
Reward economy. How will DEC be added into the game once guilds burn through it all, upgrading buildings or in other burn mechanics? So other than burning the cards and other than burning SPS to make DEC, is there any other way that DEC is planned to be added?
Well, no, it's mainly going to be through the burning of SPS, right? So there isn't like, you can't burn through it all, right? So the idea is if lots and lots of people are upgrading guild buildings or other burn mechanics, then all of that value will be going to the SPS token. So DEC will stay ideally relatively stable at 1,000 per dollar, but all the value coming in from these things will go into SPS tokens being bought and burned off the market to take advantage of that arbitrage opportunity.
Will the 48-hour change for rentals be applied to delegations as well? This is just as big of an exploit, with collection power delegations currently having zero cooldown at all.
It's not currently planned to be, but it's also not nearly as big of an exploit. It's a different exploit. And the main thing that we actually see from bot farms and things is not renting for a day for the collection power. It's more for just renting the actual cards they need to participate in the game. So and delegations, since we have the cooldown for using cards in battles, that doesn't work. So the collection power delegations is much less of an issue, although still an issue than the rentals. So we were focusing on the rentals first. But I also there's another thing I wanted to mention regarding collection power, is that eventually we talked about adding that you'll need staked SPS in order to earn rewards. You'll need to have SPS staked on each player in order for them to earn rewards. My hope is that eventually that could even replace collection power as the limiting factor. So rather than having to get like just one alpha gold foil card, you would just need a certain amount of SPS staked on you, either that you hold yourself or that other players hold and stake on you. I think ultimately, I'm not saying that's definitely going to happen, but that's one of the things I'm looking at, is I think ultimately that will be a much better system for just limiting, leagues and limiting the rewards that players can earn.
My answer is, why not both? But anyways, we'll see where that goes.
The reason is because collection power is sort of it's a very, I don't know what the word is, like not inaccurate, but it's not the right mechanic, and you can see with, it was supposed to kind of in a way estimate the actual like league that you could play in based on the cards that you have in your collection, but obviously it's very exploitable with having like one gold foil alpha legendary or something. That doesn't mean you can play in Diamond League, right? So it's potentially it could be some adjustments to collection power, maybe, I don't know, but overall, like I do agree, and I see that collection power is not really the best mechanic for what it's being used for, and there are just some ways that we're looking at potentially changing that in the future.
The next question is, will we need to stake SPS in order to earn SPS through battle rewards? And it sounds like the answer is yes, and it sounds like the answer is yes. Was that one of the things in September, or do you think that that's even further out?
No, that's going to be a little further out. I mean, that's a big system to build and make it, easy to use for players. But so initially, when we switch to SPS battle rewards in hopefully August or September, you will not need staked SPS in order to earn those rewards. Going forward, we plan, as we have discussed and wrote about in the white paper, that you will need SPS staked on you. So you don't necessarily need to stake SPS yourself, but you need to at least be a good player, and then hopefully that will incentivize other people to stake SPS on you.
What percent of SPS earned via battle rewards will be in chess versus individual battles? Will individual battles have a fixed pool per league, just like chess will?
I think the individual battles are going to work pretty much exactly like DEC works now. So there will be one fixed pool for the whole thing, just like there is for DEC, but it's based heavily on your rating. So, obviously the higher levels, the higher leagues earn much, much more DEC than the lower leagues, and the same thing will be for SPS. And then the chess will have the reward pools per league, because the way it works now, lower leagues may earn the same number of chests as higher leagues. So they'll just, all those chests will contain SPS from a reward pool for that league. And as far as what the actual percents are, that's still what we're figuring out. So we'll release all those numbers when it gets closer.
What determines the chess tier pool you pull from? Will Champion Chess be giving out ridiculous SPS rewards for the first days of the season when there are only a few players there?
Well, the chess, the chess tier that the SPS is pulled from will be based on your chess tier. So if you're opening Champion Chess, then you'll receive SPS from the Champion Chess pool. But these are the things we have to factor into the economy designs, so that on the first day it's not necessarily super huge, but that may not necessarily be a problem either. Maybe that's just additional incentive for players to try to get into Champion as quickly as possible and add more competition for that early on. Competition's always a good thing in my opinion. So I don't have like a specific answer other than these are the exact things that like Pluck and I and some other people are going to work out.
When can we expect auto-claiming rewards to happen so we don't lose out on so much time in between focuses?
I would say that just hasn't been as high a priority of some of the other changes, but I understand a lot of people in the community want that. Either that or something like where the focuses are 23 hours instead of 24 to give you that extra kind of like buffer time. So I think that's something that we should definitely do. It just hasn't been like the highest priority as these other economy changes.
Lots of people don't like being forced to rent for multiple days. Is there any chance other changes can be made to close the ECR manipulation exploit so we can eventually revert back to single-day rentals?
I think we're definitely looking at changing how ECR works to prevent exploits or things like that. We'll see. With the rental thing, it's like with anything else, we're gonna see how it goes. So if it doesn't go well and it's really a problem for players, then we would definitely revert it back. But overall, to me, I guess ideally I'd like people to want to rent cards for longer, like to longer than 2 days. I'm hoping things like season rentals become really popular and potentially even much more popular than daily rentals. But if it's definitely the case that there are like big use cases for daily rentals and it's important to have, and we're able to deal with exploits another way, then I'd be happy to revert back. But overall, my thinking is like, why wouldn't people want to rent cards for multiple days? And that's I guess a goal.
The next section is SPS. The first question is, can the SPS specific roadmap be updated? We haven't seen a new one since 2021. I don't know where he's. Is that just the in the white paper? You think he's describing that?
The white paper. We should definitely update that. That's just something we kind of haven't thought about.
All right, the airdrop is almost over. Can we please have details on liquidity provider rewards? This is a huge factor of what players will do with DEC SPS since the airdrop ends and we want to make decisions in advance.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And that is like a top priority on my list to just figure out at least the initial reward structure and get that out to everybody. I apologize that it hasn't been out yet, but there's obviously there's just like a ton of stuff going on. Also just to share a little bit, I was away for a week at NFT NYC, which I think was a really eye-opening experience, and I think we actually have some really cool future products that are coming out based on my experience there that I think is going to be like really super. It's one of the things like I'm like the most excited about, just like myself personally, as a player of the game that came from that. So we're going to hopefully be announcing that kind of stuff shortly. But then also, so I was away for a week, and then I ended up getting COVID while I was there. So I was sort of like under the weather for the next week or so. We're definitely a little behind on some of those things that I wanted to do, like the liquidity provider rewards. But my hope is that we will definitely have the details out on those before the end of the airdrop. And then hopefully they'll be going live not too long after the airdrop ends.
Yeah. So,
That's
but
a long answer to that one.
It's kind of a long non-answer. Can you just share a little bit of are we going to be providing liquidity provider rewards? If you're staking in those pools, are you going to be earning?
Yeah, so not like immediately, but yes, there's a pool. I think it's 7.5 million tokens, SPS tokens per month that are set aside for liquidity provider rewards. So those are, my hope is that within August, I know we have a lot of stuff being piled up for August, so we may not get to all these things in August, but my hope, if I did in an ideal world, in August, we will have the ability to start earning SPS for providing liquidity to our main pools on Pancake Swap, Sushi Swap, and Hive Engine. And then also, we're going to figure out what we want to do with DEC rewards. I mean, one option is give some of the SPS rewards out for DEC liquidity providers, or have DEC rewards being given out to DEC liquidity providers, which we've done in the past. And I think we'll have a lot more leeway to do that once we switch to SPS rewards for ranked battles. I think it would be no problem for the stability of DEC to provide, to mint a certain amount of DEC as rewards for liquidity pools. Actually, the development of the LP reward smart contracts is already underway. So it's just the numbers that we're still figuring out. Hopefully, that's as good an answer as I have right now.
That's much more of an answer, which I think, sometimes people are just wondering, like, hey, is this damn thing going to happen or not? Because it has been over a year. So, but the airdrop's almost over, and a lot of this stuff is scheduled to go out after the airdrop ends, and in that like August timeframe. So I know that the people have been waiting a while, but we're pretty damn close. And the main thing I just wanted you guys to hear from Matt himself was, oh yeah, we're still doing that. We're working on it. The contract's nearly done, and we're putting down the numbers. So like that's about as much of a yes, but not an exact date as I can give you guys. All right, we need more utility for SPS and vouchers to make them desirable. What utility do you see coming in the near future?
I don't know, but there's this like big rift that opened, and all these bad monsters came out, and we need someone to watch it. So that'll be the number one thing. And then, longer term for SPS, the utility is really going to be in governance, and then it's what's going to be needed to actually earn rewards in the game from ranked play and other things. So that's like the longer term, like main utility for it.
Yep.
As far as vouchers are concerned, there's going to be more like promo cards and things similar to what we did for Waka, but with some adjustments based on how that went. We're going to do some things in association with Splinterfest and stuff like that. So there's going to be just like regular stuff happening with vouchers. Also, like the cool idea that I mentioned that came out of NFT NYC that we're hopefully going to announce soon is going to require SPS and vouchers. So it's just like basically every new thing that we do, and there's going to be a lot of those, are going to require SPS and vouchers.
Yeah. So if you think 36 cents or 30 cents is a low price point, then you may consider picking some up. All right. When will we be able to buy rent cards using SPS in the future? If not, how do you expect new players to be able to use the market? Most casual players have no idea how to export SPS and use liquidity pools to swap for DEC.
Well, the majority of players just use the credits actually to buy and rent cards. So that's not going to change. Overall, like longer term, I would like to be able to get rid of credits and just use DEC. But in order to be able to do that, we need to make the experience of getting DEC as easy as it currently is to get credits. That's another thing, in NFT NYC, we talked to a number of fiat to crypto payment options. And I know we do have Transact in the game now to be able to buy DEC with credit card, but it's still a very difficult process. There's obviously the KYC process, and then a lot of cards and things get declined still with that type of stuff. So like one of the overall top priorities for the business is work with third-party services as much as possible to get the easiest way for anyone anywhere to get any type of currency into DEC and SPS. But in the meantime, that's why we have credits. So if it's it's too difficult to get the tokens, just use credits. And as far as when we switch to SPS rewards instead of DEC, I would hope that we can also just add a simple swap feature within the website. So just a simple service, a third-party service or something we can integrate where you just say, sort of like how you can buy DEC tokens with Hive right now, right? You just pick Hive, it tells you to send it to this address, it pops up keychain, and you get DEC in your wallet. We should be able to do the same thing for swapping SPS and DEC using the liquidity pool on Hive Engine. So yeah, we're just going to make it easier, I guess is the answer for that one.
Miscellaneous. Does the team have any members working on the publication of a physical comic book? The comics may require some significant resources from the creative team, but a fiction book shouldn't be that hard to publish, given the excellent pieces that the Splinterlands writers have produced in recent months. Nate, any thoughts on how we engage with creative storylines, whether comic or others that are in development?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say that the flagship product that Splinterlands represents is always the top priority, but the creative side of things always looks for opportunities to kill several birds with one stone, if possible. So if most of the work we're doing for the game could also be utilized with very minimal work to do other things, then yes, we're all about that. It'll always be secondary to the main game, but yeah, sure. In fact, there's a few things we're looking at. Comic book, most of the narrative team are published authors. So, a book is not out of the question, and neither is like a, D&D 5e resource to be able to play tabletop RPGs, or there's other things that we're looking at as well, that all of these little side projects are like on the back burner, but they're there. They're still there. They're simmering on the stove, if you will, and someday maybe they'll see the light of day, but some sooner than later. We'll see. Yeah, but definitely that's always a consideration on the creative side.
Thanks. Are there plans to improve the new player experience? Most players don't come to places like Discord until they become experienced in the game, and the in-game tutorial does a terrible job of teaching players how to play. We need better methods of retaining new players without relying on external support. Thoughts on new player experience?
Yeah, I mean, so I addressed that one earlier, so my response here is the same. First and foremost, we need to kind of get this whole economy thing working and going the right direction, and then it will be much more efficient and worth our while and effort to really focus on the new player experience.
Do we have an update on when Rift Watchers will be live?
So I feel like I've said a whole bunch of things that we're shooting for in August. We do have a much bigger team that's really been firing on all cylinders, so it is definitely possible that all of those things will happen in August, or at least most of them. So Rift Watchers is one of those things, but I'm not ready to commit to August right now. But definitely no later than September. I mean, most of the card stats are done. This is actually the first time we've done the card stats before the art, so the art can more accurately, hopefully, match the stats this time around. And yeah, we just got to get all the art done, get the new abilities in place, and get the whole pre-sale thing and sale mechanics worked out. But the plan is August.
Nice. And then here's the last question from the pre-questions. Will the power of a card play a factor in how effective it is on land? Is there any info about how bonuses will work for those of us who want to start accumulating land workers now?
I think the plan is that the like stats and abilities of cards won't necessarily affect how they are on land, but it's just generally like older cards, gold foil cards, higher level cards will be more effective workers. So like part of the whole idea with cards on land is that we don't want to run into that situation. Like, you know, anyone who's played Magic the Gathering probably has like boxes of like, you know, old commons and things in their basements that are kind of useless. So land is our way of being able to recycle old cards. So you take the older cards that you may not be playing in battles anymore, although you can still use them in wild format. But if you don't, you can take them and you put them on land, and they're better workers in order to produce the new item and spell cards. So it's a way that old cards can be used sort of like recycled into creating newer cards in the game. So generally for land, it's a lot of the ways like their old rusty androids can be very effective because they may be very cheap and not used in battles very often. But since they're an older card, and if you get gold foil versions of them, they will be just as valuable on land as the best other common card in the game, in that same set, at least in that edition. That
All right.
answer it? Do you agree with that, Aggie?
Yeah, I'm on board. So I think that gets us to 20 minutes left and just general questions. So and just remember, if you have questions and we don't get to them, you know, you can just put them into leave them here, and we will get them onto the next show. All right, so Vlax Power is saying, can you please give us more details as to why Doogie is no longer with the company? What were the circumstances? Did he leave on his own, or was he let go? As a VP especially, I feel like such a key member leaving the community needs more details shared with the community, as we have all shared interest in how things run and the understanding direction of the company. So like, you know, that question puts me in a really awkward spot because I don't want to have to comment specifically on any one person. And you know, Doogie is a great guy. There were a variety of challenges on both sides of this, and it wasn't a ideal fit. We hope going forward that, you know, we're able to hire the right people and have it be a good match in all circumstances, and that the people that we bring in, they're as excited about us, we're excited about them. And you know, it's hard to get that right every single time, but anyways, I don't want to go into too much detail. I know that you are asking for detail, but you know, I think we're going to leave individual employees. We're going to say that that's sort of like some of the, you know, it's just sensitive. So I don't want to go into details. I don't know if you feel any differently, Matt.
Yeah, no, we definitely don't go into details on specific people, but I don't, there's nothing like crazy or scary or like, you know, scandalous that happened here. You know, we hired, I think, over 100 people in the last year. You know, not everyone always works out for different reasons on both sides, you know, both from the company side and from people's individual side. I mean, that's just going to happen at any company, in any organization. I think overall we've actually done fantastically well, considering how many people we brought on to a very, you know, early, small organization without the proper, you know, things in place to support that growth at the time very quickly. So it's just, you know, it happens. I would expect it to happen, you know, with other people here and there in the future, because that's just, you know, part of how this works. But definitely nothing big or scary happened.
All right. Dishonesty is asking us, related to the card airdrop process, can we move from the current standard of we get airdrop when Cryptomancer wakes up to a more professional standard of airdrop happens automatically after 24, 36, or 48 hours from the cutoff moment?
Well, I don't know if I should answer this honestly or not, but I'm just kidding. We can. It's just in general, I don't like to have things happen when there's not someone like on watching it to make sure like everything goes okay and there's not an issue. I don't don't want to. I know we've done airdrops a whole lot of times now, so hopefully it's like pretty standard and we could do that. But to me, it didn't seem like a big deal to make sure, it's just done when Cryptomancer is available to do it, and just make sure it goes smoothly, so we don't have to have like a fire drill in the middle of the night or something, or on the weekend or a holiday. I don't know if it is a big deal for people that they may have to wait. It's usually been within 24 hours or less. Then we can talk about that and maybe make that a higher priority. But to me, it didn't seem like that was worth spending our time on.
Yeah, I like Matt's plan of make sure the dev is on. And we can't anticipate when the packs are going to sell out. So there's no way to do that other than if he's sleeping, you have to wait till he wakes up. We could automate the process, but if something goes wrong, then there's nobody there to respond, and it's a terrible user experience. So best to just have it work and have somebody there monitoring it and make sure that it's all going smoothly and be able to go deal with it if something breaks. Hardpoint mentioned something about another game in collaboration with another studio. What can you guys tell us about that? Also on the subject of collaborations, how's it going with Warner Brothers or the Warner Music? So I guess I would say we're continuing our meetings with Warner and trying to scope and figure out exactly what we want to build together. There are other games that are in the pipeline that are separate from Splinterlands. We have some social casino style games, and we have some sports related titles that we're considering and actively working on. And then there's other games. There's actually a studio that wants or is currently working with us and designing a game to sort of interact with a lot of the Splinterlands stuff that's already here. So we have a number of these projects that are live and moving, and you're gonna hear more about those. Wait for it, probably in August. So all that's coming along.
Yeah, could I mention something about that, which I talked about in the past? Because when we announced the Warner Music thing, which that was just announced, in my opinion, a little early in the process, because these things take a while. But we are going to have more partnerships and doing things with other bigger companies and brands like Warner. Again, probably in August, you might hear about some of those. And initially with the Warner Music thing, a lot of people in the Splinterlands community were saying like, well, hey, why are you guys doing these other projects and these other games and these different things and not like 100% focusing on Splinterlands? So I just want to be clear for anyone who might be thinking that, what our thinking is on the matter. So, with the success of Splinterlands, a lot of these companies have come to us and said, hey, we want to work with you to do something similar. So we sort of had an option. We could say thanks, but no thanks. We only do our game Splinterlands and other things in that ecosystem. And then these companies, they're talking to everybody in the space. They would have gone and worked with someone else. So to us, it was like it would be better for us to bring in new people. So a lot the people that are working on this are not coming from Splinterlands. Like it's not like we're taking half the Splinterlands team and the Splinterlands roadmap is going to get pushed back or anything. So we're like, let's build out sort of like it's a new area, I forget what the word is.
New ventures.
New ventures section of the company. And then if we're the ones working with Warner Music and we're the ones working with these other big companies, to build these products for their audiences, then we'll have the option and we'll have the ability to also work in rewards and benefits for Splinterlands players and asset holders. So we're looking at things like airdrops potentially for SPS token holders. We're looking at things where you get like free NFTs in these other games that we might be working on building if you buy Chaos Legion packs or if you have certain assets in Splinterlands or with vouchers or whatever it is. So if we said, no thanks to them, they would build these games and then Splinterlands asset holders would get no value from that. Whereas if we work with them, I think this is actually going to be one of the biggest avenues for value to go into the SPS token and to Splinterlands assets going forward. I mean, because some of these like Warner and some of the other ones are pretty big, and they can make a much bigger splash in the industry than we would be able to do just with Splinterlands, and not just with airdrops and benefits, but also with just like media attention. So all these people come into all these other games and they hear about it through these other things, and they find out, oh, it's the Splinterlands company that built this and that did all this, and that there are these airdrops and advantages for Splinterlands asset holders. So then all these people are like, well, let me also check out Splinterlands too if they're interested in these type of games. So to us, it was a kind of no-brainer thing to do for our community and for our asset holders. I mean, that's really that's our primary focus with everything we do, is how does it affect you guys, because we are you guys, right? We are community members, we are asset holders. So I hope everyone is in agreement and on board with us on that. I mean, we are going to have to spend time and resources and money building these things, but I think it's going to be hugely exciting for Splinterlands asset holders as well.
And one thing that helped convince me that this is the right path is that when we did this new teams, so all the way back in February, we formed 4 different product teams. We got them all moving, and then like the development stuff started piling up sort of in June and July, where we had things that were ready to go, but they couldn't go because we had a development team that was already sort of queued up and putting things in. I couldn't put 16 development teams all on Splinterlands, even if I wanted to. There's just not enough like days in the cycle to quickly plow through all the changes that we're making. So, we want to be able to keep growing and make new things. But we also want to make sure, what's the amount that we can handle for Splinterlands? Let's make sure that that's up and running. And then let's work on some of this other stuff so that, we keep developing tools, games, fun, and resources that users and players can participate with. All right, question. Why not to start SPS rewards earnings with a multiplier of personal staked SPS? The delegation feature can be implemented later, so you won't disappoint SPS holders. Give SPS value from day one, and the white paper rule will comply in some way.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, and these are things we're thinking about as we design out the SPS, the initial SPS ranked reward system. So we want to look in. One of the things that was important to me in general was that you didn't have to have your own SPS, and that other people could stake it on you. So I want to avoid anything where all of a sudden we switch to this new kind of rewards, and then all these people just aren't getting it. And they feel like now we've just forced them to go buy SPS. I mean, obviously we want everyone to buy SPS and we want to incentivize that. But so we're not saying we're not doing that. I'm just saying we haven't figured out the details of everything. And the number one goal is to just get the SPS rewards out and switch for DEC as quickly as possible. That's the first and foremost thing. So if there's kind of an easy thing that we can do that makes sense to also give additional value to staked SPS with that, we will. But if not, we'll save it for later.
Any ETA on mobile app revamp?
I don't know. I mean, I know the mobile app team is working to make sure, they got the ranked rewards updates out, I believe, and they're working to make sure Modern and Wild are out. So they're kind of focusing a lot of time on making sure it at least supports the new features. I don't have any update beyond that.
Any chance of more Gladius card utility?
Yeah, I mean, I think Weirdbeard mentioned that we want to do it for tournaments and maybe some other things. So always looking for opportunities there. But also, Gladiator cards are going to have more utility when SPS rewards are out for brawls, right? Because then they'll be able to help earn your rewards.
Isn't the most basic thing which is a battle graphics important, like player board skins, better sound effects, voice line, card interactions, to make the game look amazing and appealing for new players and other TCG players?
I would say it's important, but it's not nearly the most important. I mean, the way I look at it is we are not, and we're not gonna be able to compete on those lines, right? So obviously, we're not gonna have the best looking game, compared to all the AAA games in the markets. I mean, we always want to put a lot of time and energy and resources into making the game look cool and fun and have all those things. But as far as what's the most important thing that we're doing here, it's kind of what I talked about before, is this is a totally different type of game. So the most important thing is to get this economy working, to show that like, hey, this new type of game works, it's sustainable, and it's way better than traditional games because your assets have value, because you can earn rewards. So to me, that is the most important thing. And just like the new player experience, things like, improved graphics and battles and, sound effects and all those things, those are like more down the road things. Once we have the core of this new type of blockchain gaming working solid, then we focus on those other things.
Yeah, Matt and I came to an early decision that we're not going to out Hearthstone, right? Blizzard is billions of dollars. We are not. So we are not going to have the single most polished game in the universe, but we're going to have some features that you can't get anywhere else. And it is unlikely that you will ever say in your life, I own and operate Hearthstone. That is not the case where you can say, I own and operate Splinterlands. The node holders, the validator licenses, the way that we're decentralizing this, we're going to get to a point where no other game on the planet can say those things. And our audience, that will matter more than, is there a voice clip that you like? And when we get there, it's certainly easier to spend more time doing the voice clips and the visuals. And again, don't get us wrong, we work on those. It's just that's not the highest priority in the business. Cryptolama asks,
sounds like a challenge to me.
Yeah, do it. Nate, this is on you.
Actually, what Matt says is totally correct, though. It's like it takes so long to come up with top tier graphics and animation and sound and multimedia, so long that if we waited to unleash the functionality and features that Matt is ready to go with, that the devs are ready to go with, then it would not be a good thing. You guys wouldn't want that. However, that doesn't mean that we've stopped working on those things. It's just that it takes a lot longer to do those things than it does to execute the code. So I think, our mentality right now is that creative isn't going to stop working on those things. We're going to have cool animations and voice clips and sound and music and all that stuff, but we're getting through it. We're producing it. When it's ready, then it'll go in the game. We're not going to hold up development in order to get those things into the game. I think that's kind of the point.
Yeah, totally agree. Thank you, Nate. All right. When do you envision the SPS burn for DEC will come to fruition? Also, to clarify, do you intend to burn the SPS to reduce the total supply, or is it just going to be used as a mechanism to mint more DEC? He's got some other questions, but that's the main one. Do you envision when SPS burn for DEC, and will it reduce the total supply?
So that's something I was kind of like pushing off because it's not actually needed until the DEC price comes back up to near the 1,000 per dollar USD. So obviously we have like a ton of stuff going on right now. That's not a huge project, but I think assuming we're successful about bringing all these things I talked about into play and the DEC price goes up to that level, then it will become a high priority. And then it's not a huge feature to put in. So maybe it'll end up being August, September. I don't know, but that's sort of one of those things where like we're going to wait till we need it and then get it in, just so we don't like take time away from other things prematurely. And then we'll definitely burn the SPS. So that's the whole idea, is you burn $1 worth of SPS to mint the DEC. So that's how the value goes to SPS. So if DEC is less than 1,000 per dollar, so it's worth more on external markets than 1/10 of a cent each, then it will incentivize people to purchase SPS on external markets, which pushes the price up. Burn it, mint the DEC, and that pushes the DEC price down. So that's the arbitrage opportunity there. That's how that works.
Will getting the token economy correct affect the timing of the rollout of land? And I guess how is do you have any updates on sort of the non-card market, which I think of as land phase 0?
I don't know the status of the non-card market, but I know it's being worked on. I know the token economy stuff isn't affecting the rollout of land currently. I mean, land is being worked on by a separate team that's just focusing on that. So it's in parallel and not exactly related to the current token economy stuff that we're working on.
Will neutrals played with the new focus rules not count for focus points, even if used with the correct focus splinter?
Yeah, that's right. So with the new focus system, if you have an Earth focus, then you will get a bonus for every Earth Splinter card used. So that means if you just use an Earth Summoner and 6 or however many, and all the monsters are neutral cards, you'll only get the bonus for the Summoner. Whereas if you use all Earth Splinter cards, you'll get the bonus for all of them. The flip side of that is if you have an Earth Splinter focus, and you can use also the Dragon Summoner, and then if you choose Earth and you use Earth cards, you'll still get the bonus there too. So it kind of works both ways.
We're at time at 3 o'clock. Do you want to end it here? Do you want to answer a couple more questions? What do you feel like doing?
No, let's keep going. I haven't been on in a while.
All right. When can we expect any stat reveal for the legendary Fire Summoner?
I don't know for sure that the Fire Summoner is going to be the next one, if that's what that's implying. I don't know if we released the list of those, but I'm not sure. So I know we're going to have a good amount of time before that's that's going to be released, and we usually try to reveal it kind of midway. So that's just the thinking there.
What's the update on the arcade game that you guys asked suggestions from all of us a couple months ago? So that sort of morphed from an internal team project to an external team project, and we have a group that's looking into building what you could consider the first arcade game, and that's kind of in the scoping stage. So it went from completely informal conversation to much more formal with a third-party development studio to help us. And when they are closer to ready with a plan, we'll get them on to talk about what they're doing. Do we get something for landholders after airdrop ends? There is a pool of SPS dedicated to this. Matt, how do you see the SPS for landholders going?
We don't plan to just start giving SPS for landholders just for holding land. It's going to be when that portion, that phase of the actual land is released. And it's very, I know a lot of people are asking about it because we're doing that for license holders, but the licenses are very different because the licenses directly contribute to burning SPS and giving utility to SPS. So it's important, it adds value overall to the SPS token holders and the SPS economy to start giving out those rewards to encourage more people to buy vouchers and to buy licenses and participate in that. Now, that's not the case with land, right? So we don't want to just start giving out more SPS tokens. I mean, first of all, landholders have received a significant amount of SPS tokens for free over the past year. So I will mention that has happened and that shouldn't be discounted. But we're not going to just start giving out SPS tokens to landholders when holding land doesn't really directly benefit SPS and the SPS token holders. But as far as land goes, land is obviously a much longer, further out thing, but the rewards are potentially much, much higher. So when you're getting into land, I mean, you should come into it with that mindset. It may be much further out, but the potential rewards for it, even currently, could be much, much higher than other things. If you don't want that and you want quicker rewards, you can sell your land and you can pick up things like licenses or cards or whatever it is. But that's how we look at land versus licenses.
Can we have a preview of stats of the legendary summoners from Chaos Legion? It sounds like they're not ready, so when they're ready, we'll provide them. Matt talked in previous town halls about new gladiator cards. Any time frame for those?
I don't remember what I said. I mean, if anything, I would have said that maybe at some point in the future we could add new gladiator cards, but we don't have any plans to do that right now. I mean, as it stands, very few people. It's very hard to get merits in the gladiator cards, so we're not even close to saturated, I would call it, with that. So that wouldn't be anytime soon.
Will there be summoners in the Rift Watcher set?
Yes, I think the plan is that there will be one epic summoner from each element or splinter. and
What are the
they'll
plans?
be similar, like they'll have abilities like the dice summoners.
What are the plans if the player base severely outgrows the number of available land plots? This will result in price battles like today's real estate market.
I mean, that's the goal. That's actually the goal of land plots. So our goal with cards is to make sure that everybody, where there's always cards available at reasonable prices for people to purchase or rent. That's why we always release, new card series at some point after the previous ones sell out, and we plan to keep doing that. But land is not going to be like that at all. So land is not going to be something that you need to participate in the game. So new players can come in and they can get their cards and they can play and all that stuff. Land is going to be this sort of like special separate thing. I mean, I think we do have a lot of ideas, and we do want everyone to be able to participate in land, even if they don't actually own a plot. So there's lots of cool things we can do with that. Like, maybe everyone gets like a home base or something, like an apartment or something, but more fantasy themed within the existing land plots that other people own. There's all sorts of different like cool things and ideas we have around that. So everyone will be able to participate in land in some way, but actually land plot ownership, is supposed to be something very, very rare and special. And so you guys can do with that what you will.
Weirdbeard. It was stated in previous town halls that we would have the ability to create chaos-only tournaments with chaos-only rewards. Currently, with Modern Wild, it seems like we can only make chaos-only with all modern reward cards. Will the additions be further broken down in the future to allow specific edition reward cards?
I believe so. I can't promise just because I'm obviously not the guy that does them, but from my understanding, that's the plan, to be able to create unique tournaments with just the Chaos Legion reward cards.
Thank you. Question. Matt said the DEC is to be like a stablecoin versus SPS, which is open to market valuation. Then why move the earnings model away from a reliable, determinable token and replace it with the one that is going to forever fluctuate wildly? You'll be forever changing things when earnings get too low or too high, and it's impossible to predict future earnings, making it tougher to sell to newbies.
Well, I kind of think of it the opposite way. Like we're not trying to give predictable earnings, right? We're trying to give, obviously like attractive earnings, but that's also based on, that's like market based, right? So if earnings increase, substantially, prices and values of cards and rentals and everything should ideally, if we can build an efficient market, increase with them, and vice versa. So that's kind of like a market thing, and as much as possible, it's always good to have like the market determine these things. So it should never be a situation where we ever have to change anything. Like the earnings are a fixed pool, and they will just stay that fixed pool. And if SPS price goes up, that'll be worth more. If it goes down, it'll be worth less. But we shouldn't have to ever adjust anything in the game based on SPS price movements. But that's the only real way this can work, right? We can't have DEC be that stable coin if we're giving it out as the rewards. And then also, I talked about this earlier, the whole idea of SPS and it being the governance token and the ownership token of the game is that you play the game to earn it, right? The higher up you advance in the game, the more assets you have in the game, and the better you are at the game, the more you earn. So to me, that seems to be like the right way to structure things overall.
And just one thing about the DEC. So imagine that we completely cut off all supply. It's not that bad, but it's something like 80 or 90%, maybe more. And so now a player, like, let's say that happens to go push DEC prices up well over the peg. What will happen is players will burn SPS to then get DEC, which they will sell into the market to then push down the price of DEC back down to the peg. So, there's aspects of this where we're really trying to make the best stable experience we can for traders. And like Matt said, you can't give it away indefinitely and make that happen. And so these are all the tweaks that we're making to try to make sure that the economy is firing on all cylinders, that the stable coin acts pretty stable, and that the rewards token has a significant chance of providing real substantial value to you.
Yeah, I mean, also like generally, the loop should be eventually when you have to have SPS staked on you or staked in general to earn the rewards, right? The loop should be players come in, they start playing, they start earning SPS, right, and then they can stake it, which helps them move up and earn more SPS, and that's the general loop. That we want. And like DEC is more of just the transactional currency. So when you're ready to buy something, like or you know, ready to pay for something, then you can either put in, you know, fiat or other cryptos to get your DEC at a stable rate, or you can take your SPS if you want, and easily convert it to DEC at a stable rate and use that as the transaction token. But to me, it's not the transaction token should be separate from the governance / reward token. Those things go together and they're separate.
All right, what do we have next here?
You missed.
I don't know. Have we stopped the questions yet? Just
Oh,
so
yeah,
like we
yeah.
can. Okay.
You're done.
Just
You
making
missed
sure.
Elephantium right above EVT there, Ag.
Question, not that I don't understood why you made vouchers, but do you regret having 3 tokens to add value to? I don't. I still think vouchers are like an incredible invention. I don't know about you, Matt.
Yeah, generally like having more tokens isn't necessarily a bad thing. I mean, I say a lot of times that all this stuff is part of the game, right? So Splinterlands battling is one part, and the other is the whole ecosystem and understanding all these things. Like that's a game. Like a lot of people find that fun and interesting, you know, dealing with all this stuff. So, but the vouchers are pretty cool in the sense that they represent SPS stake days. Right, so when we're doing promotions like, you know, pre-sales for Chaos Legion or for Rift Watchers or for other things, you know, people were saying, hey, why don't you limit it to anyone who has over, you know, 1 million SPS staked or whatever, you know, some number of SPS staked in their account. But then that just, you know, gets people to start moving their SPS all around to just have that minimum amount staked in different accounts or whatever it is. And you know, also if people have SPS stake and they don't necessarily want to take part in whatever promotion it is, you know, they're kind of losing out sort of on that value. So the vouchers just, you know, indicate days of staked SPS basically, and then that way we can just say, you know, you just spend these vouchers to get things, and then you don't need to shift your SPS around accounts or do anything like that. And if you don't want to participate in different promotions or whatever it is, it's fine. You can just sell those vouchers and you can still receive the value for the staked SPS. Ultimately, I don't think it matters. Like if we're adding the value to more tokens or fewer, ultimately, like there's a certain amount of value coming into the ecosystem. And if, you know, since you earn vouchers by staking SPS, any value that comes into vouchers indirectly adds value to SPS. So I don't think it really would change anything much as far as prices or things if we didn't have vouchers. It would just make it, in my opinion, a less efficient or more awkward system for doing these promotions.
Will player staking replace the current staking rewards?
Well, I don't know what you mean replace the current staking rewards, but
right now it's a digital. I'm either staking or I'm not, and that's like the left-hand side of the SPS management screen.
I see. Yeah. Yes. I mean that pool is the one that would plan to be used. So instead of just getting SPS for just staking it and not doing anything with it, you'll need to stake it, and it will need to be staked on players, and the amount that you receive as your staking rewards will be based on the performance of those players that you're staked on. I mean, this is what is all described in the white paper. So the initial staking rewards, where you just get it for staking SPS and not doing anything, was sort of just the initial thing to incentivize people to stake SPS.
Question, what is the plan for guild buildings? Will it still be DEC contributions to upgrade guild buildings?
Yeah, it'll be DEC for most everything, right? And that's the whole idea, because then if the DEC is stable, everyone, you know, all these things like upgrading guild buildings will have stable prices. You know, a lot of people complained, and rightfully so, when the DEC price went up so much, then all of a sudden, like, you know, guild buildings were unaffordable, right? And that's what we have an issue with if we price things in variable valued tokens. Right, so that's why it gives so much value, I think, to having a stable coin in the game, is everything can be priced in a stable amount of DEC They will have a relatively stable value. You can know, hey, I want to upgrade my guild to level 10. This is what I'm going to need. I want to buy potions. I want to buy packs. This is what I'm going to need. I want to buy whatever things in land. This is exactly what I'm going to need. It's not going to change that much, but yet still all the value from it will go into SPS.
All right. Fat Jimmy has an observation. We still need more focus on helping and educating new players sooner rather than later, i.e. via an interactive tutorial system. Pushing to recruit new players is another thing altogether. If people join the game today, they should have about as much help and encouragement as they can get, and it's currently a relatively tough and confusing entry point. So one of the things I'm excited about the new ventures is like when I look at like the spectrum of difficulty, like if you buy like a board game, it's going to tell you some kind of difficulty rating on the side, or like ages 3 and up, or ages 25 and up, or whatever. I think Splinterlands is pretty complicated, and nobody has any idea on their first day how to play. And that's different than something like video poker, video blackjack, or solitaire, or match 3, or like a Candy Crush style game. There's lots of games where somebody from the internet would sit down, know how to play it immediately, and then be excited by all the twists and turns that the Splinterlands team can put into it via NFTs and ownership and all of that. So, I'm hoping that we can take some of your like absolute hardcore, diehard normies that have literally zero cryptocurrency or gaming experience and convert them with games that they already know how to play. And then have Splinterlands be sort of like the more advanced section of the website, where you kind of like come in, and now that you've done all this other stuff and it's not quite as complicated and you're ready for more, here's Splinterlands. And it's like the most mature, hardcore, best parts of our ecosystem kind of live and accumulate here, because it is so rich and so complex. And that in some of these other ones, like, solitaire for normies, hopefully that's where we take our beginners, our noobs, or the people that don't have any idea what this stuff is, and bring it in. So that's part of what I'm excited about in terms of taking new users and making it like 1/10 the difficulty, because they already know how to play solitaire. All right, question.
The way I look at it, like, just really, I want to say, like, from a very practical perspective, like if I went and I was like, we need to fix the tutorial system right now. Obviously, it should not only teach you how to actually play the battles, but it should explain to you about, what you're earning, what these rewards are, right? How you rent cards, how you buy cards, how you take your rewards and stake them and earn more and get the most out of the game. And it should go through a lot more than just playing the game, but the whole rest of the game. The economy and everything. But if we tried to do that right now, what would we say? Like, okay, you earn DEC rewards for battles, but like soon we're going to be changing it to this, and all these things. So it's until we have all this stuff figured out and set, and like that is our focus right now, is to like I feel like we've taken learnings from the last 4 years and looking at all these other platforms, and see what works, see what doesn't, to come up with like how we think this Splinterlands economy can work, and work really well. I mean, I'm extremely excited for this kind of overall high-level economic plan. Once we get this in place, then we go and build that tutorial system that teaches everybody about all this stuff, and we don't have to worry about it changing next month.
Is there a reason why the SPS Battle Rewards pool would not be separate per league? That would give peace of mind to a lot of gold players that bought farms from bronze and silver are not going to eat their cake, and it would encourage people climbing leagues. It would also protect us from potential abuses when any particular league would find a way to earn more than they should. I mean, I think that you're suggesting separate pools per league. So I think you're in line with Mildan, but maybe your read of the question is different.
Yeah, I'm not sure I understand it. The plan that we're working on is that there would be a fixed, separate pool of SPS available. Well, I guess he's saying that the battle reward pools, because I said that just like the SPS you earn from a battle wouldn't be separate per league. But I think if you look at, so I'm going to say that's what we're planning right now. I think the way those DEC rewards work are good. And even with all the bot farming, the actual breakdown of DEC rewards per league, just from the battle wins, I'm not talking about from the loot chests, are actually pretty good. So that's why we were planning on doing that for the SPS rewards as well. And then also it's less work because it already works that way. So we just have to kind of switch that over. But again, if we see that that's not the case and it's exploitable or it's not working well, then we will change it. So I'm saying that's how we're planning to do it initially. I think that will work well, and we'll see how it goes.
All right, we're running out of questions here. You keep saying ban bots will make the game that we all love to play less decentralized, but how decentralized are we really if 5 to 10 people own all 50% of the daily active accounts?
Has nothing to do with decentralization of the game. How many people own the accounts, because it's not account based, right? It's asset based, SPS based mostly. So I think the distribution of SPS is actually pretty darn good, especially compared to a lot of other platforms. There was no like pre-mine type of thing really for that. So yeah, it has nothing to do with accounts. Like you wouldn't say Hive is less decentralized if some bot made 10 million accounts. Doesn't change a darn thing.
All right, that's the end of questions. So, hey, I hope you guys have. Thank you for having stuck around for something like 2 hours and 20 minutes on a fine Monday. We appreciate you being here. Appreciate you talking to us, and hopefully, you've learned a bunch and have a better sense of how the economy is going to be working rolling forward, what our teams are working on, and have a good sense. Is there anything you'd like to add at the kind of end here, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, just that for those of you who are, further out looking, I just kind of reiterate, like, what we are doing here has never been done before. This is like a brand new thing to me, and I think most of us on the team and a lot of the people in the community. That's super exciting to be a part of. But what it means is that there's not like this right way to do it, and we're just gonna like implement that and go. So I hope that everyone is here with us to like just keep trying to figure this stuff out. And we definitely like rely on community feedback for a lot of this. I mean, tons of good ideas and things that we implement and the way things work come from the community. I mean, even if you guys don't hear about it directly, I mean, I talk to people in DMs or different avenues all the time that just come up with ideas. So like that, expect more things to not work out the way we expect more mistakes to be made. But I feel like we finally have like a clear path overall to building this thing for the first time ever in history, like this first player owned full game experience. And I hope all of you are just here with us with that goal in mind. Does that sound good?
Yep, that sounds awesome. All right. Well, you've heard a lot from Matt. You've heard a lot from this team. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks for checking out our game. Thanks for being part of our community. Hopefully our straightforward answers provide you with information on how to make your decisions. And but generally just, know that we're grateful that you're a part of this. And Matt and I and this whole team, I think, are really grateful and excited to be working on this project every single day and bringing to you what we hope is the world's first fully decentralized game that you, the players, get to own and be a part of, with a functioning economy, exciting pieces to it where you own and operate it. And we think that's a world first, and we're very excited to pave the way for this game and for the new ventures that are slated to come live later this year. So much love. Thank you, and we'll be here next week. What's that, Matt?
I hope to see a lot of you at Splinterfest also. So I'm
yeah.
excited about that.
Chatter, you want to get in just a quick promo about Splinterfest, just a quick reminder, and then we'll leave on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So going to be happening October 8th and 9th. We're working on getting the website up and running right now, and we're also kind of working on the API for the ticket purchasing. So that's going to be able to be purchased in both fiat and SPS for the Splinterfest tickets. So really excited about that one. More details to come here in the next kind of week or two.
Awesome. All right. That's it. Thanks, everybody. And we'll see you here the next week.